Hare Krishna. Would like to welcome all of you all to this most auspicious series for the Adik Maas on the holy dhams of the world. These holy dhams are some of the most fascinating and really devotionally uh, drenched places in the entire world. And we are so very fortunate that on this auspicious occasion of Adik Maas, we are getting to immerse ourselves on every holy place, every day of the week of the month actually. So imagine at the end of 30 days you will really have absorbed 30 holy places without stepping out of your doorsteps, literally within the safety of your houses, and without having spent a single rupee. You would have had an amazing tour of the most holy places of India. So today we are extremely happy and excited to be talking on one of the most holy places, which is considered to be the Banaras of South India. This is Kanchipuram. And by the end of today's session, you will really have learned so much about this holy place. You will be fascinated about by hearing the stories, by hearing the legends, and by hearing the fascinating temples that exist in one single place. Most places in India are considered to be extremely holy because of one single site of pilgrimage. But Kanchipuram very proudly hosts not just one single place of pilgrimage, but it almost has between 14 to 20 places of pilgrimage. And these are considered to be one of the most holy of the holy places. The Sri Vaishnava Acharyas talk about something known as the Divya Desams. And they speak about how there are 108 Divya Desams across the world, and most of them obviously being in India. But out of the 108 places, literally between 14 to 20 places are just in the land of Kanchipuram. And we are so very fortunate that we are getting an opportunity to discuss on this most holy and auspicious place. I was really fortunate to be born in Kanchipuram and have spent almost every single holiday of my childhood in Kanchipuram. My mother and father and brother, all of us were born in Kanchipuram. So, in that sense, we have a little bit of connection with Kanchipuram, which I would like to share with you all, and I would like to extend my a little understanding of this holy place with all of you. So while I'm going to be talking about this holy place in Kanchipuram, I'm also going to be speaking about two aspects primarily. One is I'm going to be speaking about the holy places, the temples, and its significance. But in addition to that, I will also be talking about some of the exalted acharyas, the great devotees who were also a part of this um, beautiful and exciting heritage of Kanchipuram. So, having said that, let us begin. Let us dive into this holy place of Kanchipuram and relish ourselves and immerse ourselves in the bhakti of this holy place. So, as I said, Kanchipuram is known as the Banaras of South India. It has a storehouse of amazing information. The Garud Puran enumerates seven of the most sacred places in which are considered to be mokshadayaka. They are the givers of liberation, among which is Ayodhya, Mathura, um, Maya, Kashi, Kanchipuram, Avantika, which is Ujjain, and Dwarka. And Kanchipuram is one of those holy places, which is about 75 kilometers from Chennai. And it is explained that our own Ishtadev, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, himself visited Kanchipuram during his tour of South India, and he spent 2 days in Kanchipuram. So we will start the narration of the Kanchipuram diaries by talking about the story of how it all began. And the interesting part of Kanchipuram is that um, there is one story of one very prominent story that runs across all the temples of Kanchipuram. That means practically all the temples that are there in Kanchipuram, the most holy of the holy temples, they sprung out of one single story. So that means within that story, you will find the reasons why all these temples exist, and that's the beauty of this holy city. So we'll begin by talking about a story that began in Satya Yuga. It is explained in Satya Yuga, Lord Brahma wanted to have darshan of Lord Narayan, and he wanted to worship him with a lot of love and devotion. And he performed extreme amount of penances for this purpose of having the Lord appear in front of him. Um, Pleased with his penances, Lord Narayan appeared in the form of a holy place named as Naimasharanya. So Brahma was happy that a holy place manifested, but he was not happy because he wanted to see the personal form of the Lord. He continued his prayers, and as he continued his prayers, the Lord next appeared in the form of a water body named Pushkara. And still, Brahma was not happy, though he was happy that Pushkar was formed because of his prayers. But he still felt that he wanted to actually experience the Lord in directness, in his personal form. And therefore, Brahma, he again continued praying. And then the Lord actually appeared and told him that for him to see, to experience what he wants to experience, the direct form of the Lord, he would have to perform 1000 Ashwamedha Yagyas so that he will have the benediction to achieve a vision of the direct form of the Lord. Lord Brahma pleaded and he begged. He said, 1000 Ashwamedha Yagyas will take a lot of time. Please tell me a shortcut, a way in which I can experience the personal form of the Lord much earlier and much faster. And having said that, the Lord told him there is one way out. He said, if you go to Kanchipuram, this holy place, and perform one Ashwamedha Yagya, that one Ashwamedha Yagya performed in Kanchipuram is equivalent to performing 1000 Ashwamedha Yagyas elsewhere. And therefore, Brahma was, decided that he will go to Kanchipuram and perform this Yagya. And so imagine whatever spiritual practices is done in Kanchipuram, you get a thousandfold the benefit of doing it elsewhere. So today, as we are all immersed in this most holy of the holy places, Kanchipuram, let us please remember that Mansik connection with the holy place is as good as physical connection. So, as we are going to have a mental tour of Kanchipuram, please remember that you will get the exact benefit of having visited this holy place of Kanchipuram because we are mentally going to go there. And there is no barriers when you take a mental tour. There are no restrictions when you take a mental tour. And there is no virus that can stop a mental tour. So we are all going to go into that place where you once visit. It is equivalent to visiting 1000 holy places, performing 1000 times penances, chanting 1000 times the rounds that you would chant anywhere else. So in the next 45 minutes or so that we are going to be immersed in this holy place, please remember that this 1 hour is actually going to give you 1000 hours of benefit of being physically there and performing your spiritual practices. So Brahma, he wanted to go to Kanchipuram and perform this yajna, and he invited his wife Saraswati to also join in to be a part of this historic yajna. But somehow he was not able to find the Saraswati. He was not able to locate her and invite her on time. But the time was running out, so Brahma went and began the yajna. And as soon as a yajna begins, there will always be impediments. Whenever you decide to perform any sacrifice in your life, do not expect it to be an easy journey. Do not expect it to be a smooth ride. Every sacrifice will invite impediments, will invite problems. And therefore, whether it is the Ashwamedha Yajna that Brahma is performing, or whether it is a Japa Sankirtan Yajna that we perform every day, every sacrifice will mean that there will be obstacles, there will be problems, and there will be some things that will impede us from performing a sacrifice, and they will all test our commitments. So Brahmaji, he knew that no matter what the yajna is, and no matter what I try to do spiritually, there will be some obstacles or other. The first obstacle, interestingly, was created by his own wife, Saraswati. So when Saraswati came to know that Brahma is performing a yajna and she was not invited, and he didn't bother to see where she is, she really got upset, and she wanted to destroy the yajna by sending the first obstacle in the form of a massive river. So this massive river was coming at a full speed, and it was actually going to blow off the whole yajna kunda. And as Brahma was performing this yajna and this massive river is coming towards his yajna kund, Brahma, he becomes desperate and he takes shelter of Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan, when Brahma takes shelter of him, he actually appears in the form of a beautiful deity who is known as Vega Setu. Setu means bridge, or Setu also means a dam. So Vega Setu means a dam that obstructs the speed of the river. So usually dams are constructed to stop rivers from moving at great paces. So here in this particular case, we find the dam was none other than Lord Vishnu himself. So what Lord Vishnu did was he lied down right in front of the Yajna Kund, and he protected the Yajna Kund from the speed of the flowing river. And that is how Lord Brahma's Yajna was saved. And then after that, something interesting happened. The demons. So I'm just going to tell you the storyline first, and then we'll go into the temples so that you know the story, and then you can see the temples. And as I'm going to speak to you about these temples and about these beautiful places, I'm also going to show you some images, and these images will actually transport you to that place. You will actually be able to see the different deities that I'm speaking about. So the demons. So as the yajna progressed, the river was saved. The river speed was checked by Vega Setu, this particular deity of the Lord. And then the next obstacle came in the form of demons. So there were demons that wanted to obstruct the yajna of Lord Brahma. So the demons created complete darkness, and Brahma could see nothing around him. Now imagine you're doing a yajna and you're trying to do something focused, and it's absolutely pitch dark. Nothing at all could be seen. And therefore, as Brahma was in the form of in utter darkness, he offered his prayers to Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan took an incarnation, the type of which was never taken in the history, in the past nor in the future. He appeared in the form of light. So this particular form of the Lord is known as Deepak Prakash. This particular form of the Lord is a form of the Lord that appears. Vishnu appeared as light. The Brahman effulgence that comes out from the body of Vishnu, it actually came in assistance to Lord Brahma to help him see things. And then Brahma continued performing his tapasya. And as Brahma continued performing his tapasya, the demons sent a very ferocious beast named as Sharabha. So Sharabha is a very interesting type of animal. And I'm sure if you have ever gone to South India and seen some of these temples of South India, they have these carvings of the Sharabha animal. And Sharabha is a very interesting animal, which is a combination of 5 animals. And I'm going to show you a picture of the Sharabha now. You will actually see in this picture that Sharabha is a very, very interesting animal which has a combination of 5 different animals. It has a bird form, it has a elephant, it has a lion, it has a human, it has like that many bodies combined together in the form of one single animal. And the demons send the Sharabha to attack the Yajna Kund and disturb Lord Brahma. Again, Lord Brahma took shelter of Lord Narayan. And as Brahma took shelter of Narayan, the Lord appeared in a very amazing form, which is known as Ashta Bhujam. He appeared in the form of a 8-handed incarnation of the Lord. And this 8-handed incarnation of the Lord, he defeated the Sharabha animal and protected the Yajna of Lord Brahma. And then, as Brahma continued performing his Yajna, at that point, the demons began to harass Lord Brahma personally. This is the first time the demons personally began to harass Brahma. They actually started troubling Brahma physically by trying to torture him and trying to kill him. At that time, uh, the Lord again prayed to the Supreme Brahma again prayed to the Supreme Lord, and this time Narayan appeared in the form of Narsingadev, the very form that is an embodiment of protection of his devotees. Narsingadev appeared in a very ferocious form, and he jumped at the demons, and they all got scared and ran away. And when Narsingadev saw all the demons run away, Narsingadev sat down in front of the Yajna, and he sat down in a yogic posture, and therefore he became celebrated as the Yoga Narsingha deity. And then finally, Brahma continued performing his tapasya with pure devotion. And after performing tapasya so intensely for the appearance of the Supreme Lord, within the Yajna Kund appeared a beautiful Vimana. Vimana is a plane. Vimana is a vehicle, and usually the Supreme Personality of Godhead travels from one place to another in these special vehicles. And especially when he appears through the fire, through Yajna Kunds, he appears through this Vimana. And it is explained that once the yajna was completed, this beautiful Vimana arose from the Yajna Kund. And it is explained that within that Vimana was this beautiful four-handed form of Lord Vishnu, who was in a very, very magnanimous and merciful incarnation, holding his hands in a posture to give blessings. And this particular form of the Lord is known as Vardharaj. So this is, in essence, the story of Kanchipuram. But as I said, this is not all. This is just the beginning. So now we're going to go into each of the temples and understand the temples in details, so that we absorb ourselves in the mood of these temples. So the first temple that I would like to speak about is the temple of um, the very deity which incarnated for giving light to Lord Brahma. If you remember, we called it as Deepak Prakasha. So this deity is also known as uh, Tirutanka, and he is also known as Valakoli Perumal. Valak in Tamil means light, and Oli, the word Oli means uh, you know um, effulgence, or some kind of uh, you know a beautiful experience of divine vision. So Valakoli Perumal is the form of the Lord that appears as a light incarnation of the Lord. So as I said, Lord Brahma wanted to have darshan of Lord Narayan, and he was worshipping with great devotion. And as he was worshipping with great devotion, the demons created darkness. And when this darkness prevailed too much, which is obstructing the yajna performance, Lord Brahma prayed to Lord Narayan, and the Lord appeared in the form of Valakoli Perumal. Now, please have darshan of Valakoli Perumal through this beautiful image of the deity of Valakoli Perumal, Deepak Prakasha. Within this temple is also a very beautiful section, or a very beautiful altar of one of the most exalted personalities in the Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya. This person is actually considered to be a historic personality. He's considered to be one of the most powerful personalities in the Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya after Ramanujacharya, and this is known as Vedanta Desika. So Vedanta Desikar was very much a part of this particular temple. If you'll find, in fact, this place, Valakoli Perumal's altar, is also the birthplace of Vedanta Desikar Swami, and it is explained that Vedanta Desikar was born in 1268, and he was one of the most stalwart proponents of the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. The word Desika in Sanskrit means Acharya. So in the Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya, there are many Acharyas, starting from Nammalvar to all the present day Acharyas. And out of all the Acharyas that are there in the Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya, there's only one person who is known as Desika. And this is the person that we are talking about. Before we go ahead, I would like to inspire all of y'all to please have darshan of Vedanta Desika the most exalted and the most venerated saint of South India. Vedanta Desika, his original name was Venkatnatha, and his parents chose that name Venkatnatha for two reasons. One reason was he was born on the Shravanam day, which is the day of the birth star of Tirupati Balaji, of Srinivas, who's the presiding deity of Tirupati. So Vedanta Desika, the way he was born is just so amazing. His parents, Shri Anantasuri and Srimati Totaramba, they were childless for many, many years. And one fine day, Lord Srinivas appeared in the dream of these of his parents and ordered them to go to the Tirumala hills. So the parents, they actually took a pilgrimage to all the way from Kanchipuram to Tirupati, and they went walking. Obviously, they climbed the hill and they were having darshan of the beautiful deity of Tirupati Balaji. That particular day, Srinivas Balaji, he appeared in the dream of Shrimati Totaramba, and in the dream, he gave her a golden bell, the bell that is used to ring in altars. He gave her a golden bell. And interestingly, in that dream, Totaramba, she swallowed the bell. She actually ate the golden bell. The next day, the pujaris, when they reached the altar of Srinivas, they found that the bell is missing. They just couldn't find the bell. They tried searching everywhere. The bell was missing. And then they heard an Akashvani. They heard a voice, a divine voice that said that I have given the bell to Totaramba, and she will very soon be delivering a son who will be a great scholar like Ramanujacharya, and who will firmly establish the supremacy of the Shiva Sampradaya. And he said, and the divine voice said, that person will be the incarnation of my bell. So Vedanta Desika is considered to be the incarnation of the bell of the Supreme Lord. So what does a bell indicate and what does a bell do? Our mouth is very much like a bell, if you see, we have a tongue which is like a striker. The bell has a striker, so we have a tongue that is a striker. And just like the tongue moves, and that's when voice comes out from our mouth, similarly the striker moves and voice comes out from the bell. Similarly, the idea that Vedanta Desika is the incarnation of the bell of the Lord, it simply means that he was born to propagate the Shiva Vishnu Sampradaya and speak the message of Shiva Vishnu Sampradaya in the most powerful way. And Vedanta Desika has written so many literatures. And one of the literatures, of the thousands of literatures that Vedanta Desika wrote, he wrote an entire book on which describes the Paduka of the Supreme Lord. And he wrote a book, he wrote so many verses, 64 verses, that describe simply the Paduka of the Lord. So you can imagine what kind of a scholar he was and what kind of a profound, intelligent person that he was. So Vedanta Desika, in his younger days, when he was just a 5-year-old boy, his maternal uncle, whose name was Shri Appallur, he actually brought Vedanta Desika with him to a temple in Kanchipuram where they had come for darshan. And in the temple, there was a discourse going on, a discussion between a guru and many of his disciples. And this guru was reciting the Vedas. And, when Vedanta Desika and his uncle, they walked in, so the guru stopped speaking. And this Vaishnava scholar, he actually blessed Vedanta Desika with a lot of profound blessings and all that. And when they were leaving, the guru actually began speaking again. And at that time, he forgot where he had stopped. And he asked the others, where did I stop? Do you remember? And while others were struggling, this small 5-year-old boy, Desika, he turned around and he said, he pointed out exactly where he had stopped. And people were shocked that a 5-year-old boy who had just randomly walked into an assembly where there was a discussion going on, he could remember exactly where this scholar had stopped, while the scholar himself nor others could remember. By the time this boy was 7 years of age, he actually started learning the Vedas, the Shastras, the Sri Bhashya, the Divya Prabandham, and he bewildered everyone by his brilliance. And everyone by the time the child was 7 years old, they began to wonder if he was actually a reincarnation of acharyas like Ramanuja, Natha Muni, and Yamunacharya. And by the time Desika became 20 years of age, he was a profound scholar in every single way. And he redefined Sri Vaishnavism in so many amazing ways. Vedanta Desika actually has written a book on food, and it's an amazing book, which is a collection of hundreds of things that every Vaishnav should learn about food habits. He speaks about which vegetables Vaishnav should eat and not eat, what each vegetable causes, what kind of effects it causes on the mind, kind of effects it causes on the body. Very profound knowledge of every field that Vedanta Desika ever spoke on and wrote about. So that gives us a little bit of the background of this amazing personality, Vedanta Desika, and also this temple of Valakoli Perumal. Also, just one more information that Vardharaj, the main deity of Kanchipuram, every year Vardharaj is brought to Vedanta Desika's birthplace. And when Vardharaj comes, he resides over there for 2 days. And it is explained that Vardharaj's garlands are brought for Vedanta Desika. And it is explained that when the deity of Vedanta Desika comes in front of Vardharaj every year, this is something that always happens. When the deity of Vedanta Desika comes in front of the Vardharaj, uh, the Vedanta Desika's deity sweats. There is actually sweat that is found on the body of Vedanta Desika's deity. And that is a kind of ecstatic experience that the deity of Vedanta Desika experiences when he sees his worshipable Lord, Vardharaj. So the next temple that we will be speaking about a little bit in more detail is about the Ashta Bhujam temple. And Ashta Bhujam temple is specifically known for two things. If you remember in the story that we spoke about, where Lord Brahma was experiencing trouble by the demons, we find that first the demons created darkness, and Valakoli Perumal, Deepak Prakasha came and eliminated darkness. And as Brahma continued performing his tapasya, the demon sent a ferocious beast named as Sharabha. We already saw how the Sharabha looks sometime in the past, and now we are going to see the form that the Lord took, which is known as Ashta Bhuja. And this is the form of the Lord which has 8 hands. And the Lord holds a disc, a sword, a flower, and an arrow on 4 of his right hands. And he holds a conch, a bow, an armor, and a club in his left hands. And finally, in this place where Ashtabhuja appears, we find that he fights against this particular demon named this particular animal named as Sharabha that the demons send, and protects Lord Brahma's yajna and Lord Brahma from the ferocious attack of this animal. So we will have darshan of the beautiful form of Ashtabhuja at this point. This place, this particular temple, is also an historic temple because it hosts one more most amazing pastime of the Lord. Of course, this particular pastime of the Lord is also said to have happened in a few other places. But as we know, that the yugas go in cycles, and these pastimes happen on a regular basis, yuga after yuga. And we find some of the pastimes of the Lord happen almost in every cycle, and therefore sometimes the pastime happens in this place and sometimes the same pastime is attributed to another place. Let us not be confused. The same pastime happens many times in many cycles, so it is possible that the same pastime can happen in multiple places, and all the places are perfectly fine. So this is the most famous place where the Gajendra Moksha takes place. We also find that there is a place just outside the temple which is known as Gajendra Pushkarani. I'm going to give you all the darshan of Gajendra Pushkarani now. And this is the most holy place where Jagadendra Moksha took place. And this is the place where Gajendra was struggling so intensely to save his own life from the attack of that crocodile. And as we all know, Gajendra in his previous incarnation was a king named Indradumna. Indradumna was a very, very powerful and exalted personality. And Indradumna always worshipped the Lord every single day. And one of the ways in which he would worship Lord Vishnu every day was by offering a golden flower to the Lord. And he would offer this golden flower, which was 1,000 petaled golden flower. Every single day, Indradumna offered 1,000 petaled golden flower to Lord Vishnu as his form of worship. When one particular day he was performing his tapasya, his eyes were closed and absorbed in intense tapasya. At that point, Agastya Muni appeared there, and Indradumna was too absorbed in his tapasya to notice Agastya Muni. And Agastya Muni got so upset that he cursed Indradumna, and he cursed him that he would become an elephant because he was acting ignorant like an elephant. Indradumna obviously begged forgiveness, and Agastya Muni said he will be delivered by the Supreme Lord himself. Obviously, why was Agastya Muni upset? He was not upset so much because he was not greeted, but he was upset because the understanding of absorption was wrong of Indradumna. What is absorption? Our absorption in the Supreme Lord cannot stop us from continuing to serve. When absorption becomes selfish, then you tend not to want to do service, but you want to enjoy. You a lot of people are so absorbed in their personal chanting, hearing, and their personal sadhana that they forget that the purpose of absorption is seva. So when exalted personalities like Agastya come, there's an opportunity to serve. Indradumna somehow missed that opportunity, and that's why he was cursed. And because Indradumna always focused so much on the Supreme Lord, and because he was such a great devotee, though he was in the body of an elephant, he remembered all the prayers that he had offered in his previous life. And when the crocodile was attacking him, he realized nothing else matters to me except the Supreme Lord now, and nothing else can protect me except the Supreme Lord. And then Gajendra began to take shelter of the Lord by offering beautiful prayers. And finally, when the Lord appeared in that beautiful pond, we find that Gajendra somehow found one lotus flower in that pond. Now, what is the chance that there is a lotus flower next to you? Very good chance that there is no lotuses next to you. But why was that one lotus flower there? It was simply there because in his previous life, Gajendra, as Indradumna, had offered so many lotuses to the Lord. The Lord kindly manifested in one lotus that he could offer to the Supreme Lord. And this particular pastime of Gajendra Moksha took place in this holy place of the place where Ashta Bhujam appears. And then we find that uh, when the pastime continues, Lord Brahma is offering his prayers. Deepak Prakasha has appeared. Then Ashtabhuja has appeared. Then we find that the Lord has also appeared as Vega Setu, which we'll discuss a little later. And then we find that when all the demons were gathering to harass Lord Brahma, the Lord appeared as Narsingadev, and he appeared on the call of Brahma, chased away the asuras, and he wanted to stay there to protect his devotees. And here we find that the deity of Narsingadev is called by a very special name in this particular temple. Usually, the name of Narsingadev is Narsinga, Yoga Narsinga, and things like that. But in this particular place, the Lord is known as Aragiya Narsinga. The word Aragiya Narsinga, the word Aragiya means Sundar, beautiful. So here, the Narsinga Dev's deity is an extremely beautiful deity. So it has such beautiful, attractive features because of which he is known as Aragiya Narsinga Dev. And therefore, please, I would like all of you all to have darshan of Aragiya Narsingadev now. And this most holy and beautiful deity of Aragiya Narsingadev is considered to be one of the most auspicious deities of Kanchipuram. The next temple that we would like to introduce you all is the most important temple of Kanchipuram. In fact, the entire Kanchipuram is named after this deity. And so each of the places like Shirangam, Rameshwaram, sorry, Shirangam, Tirupati, and Kanchipuram, these three are specifically known because of one particular deity. And this temple, this whole town of Kanchipuram, is known because of this one deity of Vardharaj. So after Brahma performed all these so many tapasyas and intense performance of the Ashtamedh Yajna, we find at the end of the Yajna, in spite of all the obstacles, the Supreme Lord Brahma continues performing his tapasya, and finally we find that the Supreme Lord appears in from the Yajna in the form of this beautiful deity of Vardharaj. So the word Vardharaj, Raj means king, Varada means blessings. So this deity is the king of blessings. So if anyone wants any sort of blessings, this is the day you take shelter of. And if you want any kind of blessings, any kind of desires that you have, Varadaraj is the fulfiller of all desires of his devotees. And therefore, he is standing there to bless us. He's standing there to shower his choicest blessings on all his devotees. And the deity of Varadaraj is in a beautiful posture where he is offering Varada, where he's offering blessings constantly to his devotees. And if you actually have darshan of this beautiful deity of Vardharaj, you will find that um, in the hands of Vardharaj, there is a beautiful carving that actually, says Ma Sucha. That means, do not worry, I'm there for you. So, Vardharaj is actually giving us assurance. The Vardharaj is actually giving us blessings. So don't worry, I'm there for you. And the most amazing thing about Vardharaj is, if you see, there are two deities of Vardharaj. There is the main deity of Vardharaj, and there is a Utsav Murti. The deity that actually appeared from fire was the Utsav Murti, the small deity, the metal deity of Vardharaj. So I'm going to give you all darshan of both the deities, the Utsav Murti and the main Mulavar, both the deities of Vardharaj right now. Please have darshan. So the interesting thing about the small deity of Vardharaj, the Utsav Murti of Vardharaj, is if you actually look at the face of the Utsav Murti of Vardharaj, you will find that there are poke marks on the face of the Lord. Throughout the face of the Lord, you'll find poke marks. And if you ever wonder what these poke marks are, they actually talk about two things. It is explained that there are two reasons why there are poke marks on the face of Vardharaj. One of the reasons that is explained is that this deity came out from fire. Because this deity came out from fire, you will find poke marks on the face of the Lord. Just like when any metal comes out from fire, sometimes you will find these small marks on the metal surface. And the second reason that is explained is that Vardharaj was actually engaged in a battle, and when Lord Brahma invited him, when Lord Brahma, invoked him, his presence in this yajna, and Vardharaj actually left the battle, and right in the middle of the battle, he came and he offered himself at the service of Lord Brahma. And therefore, you find that on the face of Vardharaj, you'll find these marks. It is explained they're actually arrow marks. So in a battle, sometimes people are shot arrows on their face also, because usually the armor covers their body, and out of frustration, sometimes the enemy shoots the face. Like you'll find in the Ramayana, so many times Lord Ram and Lakshman, they've been hit on the forehead by the demons, by Ravan, Indrajit, sometimes, and that's what these poke marks on the face of the Lord indicate, and they actually indicate how the Lord is ready to do anything to protect his devotees. And in that temple of Vardharaj, there is a very beautiful, there are so many amazing things in that temple of Vardharaj. But one of the things that always attracts people is the presence of two lizards. There is a golden lizard and there's a silver lizard in the temple of Vardharaj. So usually lizards are very scary things, and everybody likes to avoid them and everybody wants to stay far away from them. But these two lizards are very special lizards. And every devotee who visits Vardharaj temple actually goes and touches these lizards. These are probably the only lizards in the entire universe which people like to go and touch voluntarily. So these two lizards are considered to be two disciples of Gautam Rishi. And one time, these two disciples of Gautam Rishi, they used to fill. They always, their service was to fill water for their guru. And one day, when they offered water to the guru, they were shocked to find there was a lizard in that water. and this lizard just jumped out of that water. And the Gautam Rishi was so angry that his disciples were so careless that he cursed them that you'll become lizards. And these two disciples, they actually begged forgiveness from their guru. And the Gautam Rishi told them, "Don't worry, this curse will actually be a benediction for you." And then eventually, a little later, while these disciples were in the form of lizards, eventually Indra comes to worship Vardharaj. And when Indra sees these two lizards, who are disciples of Gautam Rishi, he relieves them from this curse. And in memory of this curse and this episode, these two golden lizards are there in Vardharaj temple. And it's explained that anybody who touches these lizards have the power to fulfill your desires, especially all your spiritual desires. And that is how we find these the story behind these two lizards. Something very interesting about Vardharaj also, which really became a historic phenomenon in the recent past, was the appearance of Ati Varadar, who this form of the Lord who appears once in 40 years from inside water. It is explained this is a wooden form of Vardharaj. So essentially, there are three Vardharajas inside one temple. So there is the Moolavar, the stone deity of Vardharaj is like the big deity that is worshipped. Then there is Utsavar, there's a small deity which appeared from the fire for Lord Brahma. And then the third one is known as Ati Varadar. So this was the deity that was worshipped before the Moolavar was worshipped. And it is explained this deity is kept below water, and it's once in 40 years the deity is brought out and worshipped by the devotees. It is explained this wooden form of the Lord is the form that Ramanujacharya and personalities like Kanchipurna and all these exalted personalities actually worshipped. Because of some reason, they keep this particular form of the deity inside the water. Some of the pujaris say that there is some part of the deity which is chipped off, and usually when a deity is chipped at a particular small part, that particular deity is not worshipped, but it is kept preserved in some place or something like that. And in place of that particular form, there is the form that we worship now. So Ativaradar once in 40 years is brought out, and he gives darshan for a certain number of days. And you'll find, if many of you all watching this video would surely recall the craze that happened some months back when Ativaradar was brought out in 2019, and thousands and thousands, practically millions of people from across the world rushed in to have darshan of Ativaradar. And there's so many beautiful pastimes happened of Adivaradar at that point. So we find that these are some of the prominent temples that we went through in Kanchipuram and till this point of time. But before we go ahead, I would like to share a very beautiful story of um, one of the one of the acharyas, because of which a particular temple is named. Let me just tell you what this temple is, and then I'll talk to you about this acharya, which is one of my favorite stories of Kanchipuram. So there is one particular deity of one particular temple in Kanchipuram, which is known as Yathoktakari Vishnu. This temple is also known as Vega Setu. If you remember, this is the first form of the Lord that appeared when Brahma started worshipping. When Brahma started the Ashwamedh Yajna, if you remember, Saraswati was really upset with Lord Brahma, and she sent the Vegavati river, massive river, to flood and destroy the Yajna Kund of Brahma. And at that point, the Lord appears in the form of Vega Setu. He appears in the form of a deity that is lying on the snake bed, and he forms like a dam protecting the Yajna from the flowing river. And this particular form of the Lord is known as Yathoktakari Perumal. He is also known as Vega Setu Perumal. So this temple of Yathoktakari Vishnu is known for many reasons. One of the reasons is that he protected Brahma. But there's a more important reason and a more beautiful reason that I would like to share with you all, which tells us a story of one of the most exalted and amazing devotees of the Supreme Lord in the Shiva Vaishnava Sampradaya. So there was one particular devotee whose name was Bhakti Sar. So Bhakti Sar was living in Kanchipuram, and one of his disciples was named as Kani Kannan. So Bhakti Sar and Kani Kannan were exalted, devotees, and they loved each other. So Bhakti Sar was very absorbed in devotional, sentiments, and he finally found this place Kanchipuram where he started residing, performing sacrifices, and along with Bhakti Sar was his disciple Kanikandan staying along. So while both of them are staying and performing their tapasya, one particular day they saw Bhakti Sar saw an old lady, and so Bhakti Sar saw this old lady was every single day coming and doing some menial services in the ashram, and she would come and put rangoli, and decorate the place every day. So Bhakti Sar became very pleased with her, and he asked her for asking any boon. So this old lady, she said, uh, I come here to do some service, and when I come here to do some service, she says that, unfortunately, the problem is that my hands are becoming stiff because of old age, and my hands are not able to bend and are not able to hold the powder together, not able to, do anything proper for the service of the Lord and His devotees. So Bhakti Sar, he became very pleased with her, and he blessed her that she will become young again. And with the blessing of Bhakti Sar, the 60-year-old lady suddenly became a 16-year-old lady. And imagine, she was shocked, but she was happy and grateful that she can serve for so many more years. She continued living there in Kanchipuram until one day the king of Kanchipuram saw her. He really liked her. He went and told her, you're so beautiful. I've never seen you in the past. The old lady said, you have seen me many times in the past. The only problem is I was 60 years old till yesterday. And today suddenly I've become 16 years old. The king couldn't believe. He said, what are you saying? How can anything like that happen? And this old lady explained, my guru can do anything. So the king said, he was a great Pallava king. So the king said, I'm also getting older, and I would want Bhakti Sar to bless me. I also want to become young again, so that I can enjoy my life. This old lady, she said, that's not what my guru does. That's not what my guru does. The guru doesn't do anything, but the king said nothing doing. He's staying in my kingdom. He has to do what I want. So he said, call your guru over here. So now, obviously, the guru. So this old lady, she said that I'm not sure about my guru Bhakti Sar, but he has one disciple named Kanikandan, and he's also a great Vaishnava. If he recommends you to my guru, probably, my guru may consider. So the king said, go and call Kanikandan over here. So this old lady went and called Kanikandan. Kanikandan comes to the court of the king, and the king orders Kanikandan, go and get a guru over here so that, I can get my youth back. Kanikandan said, see, my guru is very absorbed in devotional service. He is not interested in seeing a face of a materialistic person like you. Kanikandan left the place, just saying that. And the king became really morose, and but the other people, the courtiers who were there, they said, you have no idea whom you had spoken to. They told the king that. They said, this Kanikandan, he himself is a magician. They said, we have seen with our own eyes that when Kanikandan sings poetry and he sings beautiful bhajans for the pleasure of the Lord, withered trees would come back to life. That is the power of his poetry. When the king heard that, he said, call Kanikandan back, forget the guru, call him back. So then somehow they convinced Kanikandan to come back again. And the king said, recite a poem in glorification of me, so that hearing that poem, I'll get my youth back. Kanikandan says, this mouth only glorifies the Lord, and I don't glorify mortal people like you. And Kanikandan just refused to glorify the king. And the king said, you refuse to glorify me? I refuse your stay in my kingdom. Get out from my kingdom. The king, asked Kanikandan to leave. So Kanikandan, he said, fine. He walked out of the king's court, straight went to his guru, Bhakti Sar, and told him everything that had happened. And he told his guru that I'm walking out of the kingdom because I'm told to go out. The guru said, if you're going, what's the point in me staying? I'm also coming with you. The guru also got up, and both of them were leaving. And they said, anyway, we have to leave. Let us just go and take permission from our worshipable Lord, Yathoktakari Vishnu, and then we'll both go. So they both went to Yathoktakari Vishnu's temple, the temple that we just going to see. Let us first have darshan of Yathoktakari Vishnu to the deity that Bhaktisar and Kanikandan went. Please have darshan. So when Kanikandan and Bhaktisar they reached this place of Yathoktakari Vishnu, they went and spoke to the Lord. And they told the Lord, my dear Lord, this is what has happened to us. And we are asked to leave the temple, leave the place of Kanchipuram. Yathoktakari Vishnu, as soon as he heard that Kanikandan and Bhaktisar are leaving, he spoke to them. And he said, if y'all are going, then what's the point in me staying? I'm also coming with y'all. So Yathoktakari Vishnu got up from his snake bed and not just got up, he got up and rolled his snake bed and put it under his arm. He said, I'm also ready. And he started walking along with Kanikanan and Bhaktisar. So when Kanikanan and Bhaktisar, so first Bhaktisar was walking, Kanikanan walking behind him, Yathoktakari Vishnu walking behind him with a snake bed under his arms. And then behind Yathoktakari Vishnu, when the other gods in Kanchipuram saw Yathoktakari Vishnu leaving, they said, we are also leaving. Narsingadev followed. Then after that, Vega Setu deity, he followed. Sorry, Vega Setu is Yathoktakari Vishnu. Ashta Bhujam deity followed. Then Deepak Prakasha followed. And then finally, Vardharaj also followed. And then when Vardharaj left, the sun, the sun said, if Vardharaj is not staying in Kanchipuram, what is the point in me staying in Kanchipuram? The sun also left Kanchipuram. And then the moon also left Kanchipuram. There's utter darkness in Kanchipuram. And then the king was wondering, what is happening? Practically, I can't see anything. There is no light, there is no moon, there is no sun. And then finally, the devotees told him, the ministers and this old ladies, they told him that you've gone mad by kicking out Kanikandan, you've kicked out all the good fortune out of Kanchipuram. The king ran out of the outskirts of Kanchipuram when there was a whole procession walking, Imagine the scene, Bhaktisar walking ahead, Kanikandan walking behind, behind him Yathoktakari Vishnu with a snake bed in his arms, and then behind him all the deities one by one walking, and then sun and moon walking behind. And not just that, all the other deities around Kanchipuram, Hanumanji's deity, Lord Shiva's deity, so many deities, Lakshmi Devi's deity, all of them started walking behind. It was a total boycott of Kanchipuram, basically. And then this king went and fell at the feet of Bhaktisar and Kanikandan, begged them forgiveness and begged them to come back into the kingdom. He promised them that he'll never trouble them again. And finally, all of them, they agreed, saying that let us go back, and seeing the sincerity of the king, and they all decided to go back. So all the deities went back to their own temples. And one thing especially that happened in this particular temple, the Yathoktakari Vishnu that we are discussing, was when the deity reached the temple, he decided to do something different from what he had done before, just to commemorate this particular incident. So what he did was, Yathoktakari Vishnu, he took the snake bed and spread it in the opposite direction. So usually his head would be on one side and the leg would be on the other side. But when he came back, he spread the snake bed the other way around. So his head was in the opposite direction and the leg was in the other direction. So this is the only temple in the entire world where you'll find the snake's head is on the right side. It will be facing on our right side, basically. Usually the snake's head is on our left side, but in this particular temple, you'll find the snake's head on our right side, and the deity is with his head on this side, basically. So this actually commemorates this particular incident, showing how Yathoktakari Vishnu was a totally sold out to his devotees and to his associates. So that's the greatness of this particular temple that we just saw. So like this, Kanchipuram is known for so many of these amazing temples that are considered to be the essence of what Kanchipuram is. So Kanchipuram is no ordinary place. It is no simple place. I'm going to share about a few other places in Kanchipuram which are extremely beautiful and extremely important to know of. There is one particular temple which is probably the only temple of its type. The name of this temple is known as Ulagalanta Perumal Temple. Ulagalanta Perumal is actually Vamana Dev's temple, basically. So this is a Trivikram temple. He's also known as Ongi Ulaganda Perumal temple. So this temple is of Vamana Dev, and the deity of Lord Vishnu, of Lord Vamana, is of 35 feet in height. So you walk into the altar of this temple, you have to look straight up to be able to actually see the face of the Lord. And you will not even be able to see the knees of the Lord in front of your eyes. You practically will see only the calves of the Lord in front of your eyes. That's how huge this particular deity of Ongi Olaganda Perumal is. And this particular deity is the deity of Vamana Dev. So when Bali Maharaj offered three steps of land to Vamana, Vamana incarnation. So the Vamana Dev, with two steps of land, covered the entire universe. And the third step of land, he was wanted to know from Bali Maharaj, where should I keep it? And Bali Maharaj, he offers his head to Vamana Dev. And in this particular deity, we're going to have first darshan of this particular deity of Ongi Olaganta Perumal. And you will find in this deity, please have darshan. In this particular form of the deity, you'll find something very, very special. You'll find the Lord has in one hand, he's showing two, which essentially he's showing that I've already taken two steps. And then with his other hand, he's showing one. It's a question. He's asking Bali Maharaj, where do I keep the third step? So that is the way in which this particular deity is. You'll find, one hand is showing two and one hand is showing one. And that is the way in which we find this particular deity situated. This is a very, very beautiful deity of Vamana Dev, Omgi Ulaganda Perumal. And this is one of those very special deities of Vamana Dev that probably is historic in its nature and its presence. So in that particular temple, also there are smaller temples within the campus of this temple. So there is one temple which is known as Thiru Urugam. So Thiru Urugam, this is a temple of the same Lord who is gigantic as Vamanadev. The same Lord appears in a tiny form as Adishesha, the serpent of the Supreme Lord. So the serpent is actually holding the universe on his head, and it is explained that the Adishesh is actually an incarnation of Lakshman. He's also a Ramanuja who appears so Adishesh appears as Ramanuja also. And then in the same temple, there's also another altar who is of a deity who's named as Karvanam. Karvanam, the word Kara means clouds, and Neera means water. So it is explained that so when Krishna is saying, "I am the taste of water," so here in this particular deity, which is a blackish form of the Lord. The Lord is saying, "I am the." When Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, "I am the taste of water," what does it mean? This deity is the answer to that question. I am that. So this particular deity probably is the only deity in the whole world where which is the representation of this verse of Gita. When Krishna is saying, "I am the taste of water," so he's saying this deity says, "I am that." So he is known as Tirukarvanam. So he represents the taste of water. He represents Krishna, who is the taste of water. And then there is another very, very beautiful temple of the Lord whose name is Vaikunta Perumal Kovil. So Vaikunta Perumal is another amazing Divya Desam, one of the most amazing Divya Desams in the temple. Where so this temple is the story behind this temple is there was um, a king named Virocha, and so he did a lot of sins in his previous birth, and because of all the sins that he did, Virocha never had a child, never had a heir to the throne. So he prayed to Lord Shiva And Lord Shiva finally gave him a boon that the Dwarpals of Vaikunta, the Vaikunta's Dwarpals, Jai Vijay, will be born as your sons. So therefore, the Dwarpals of Vaikunta, Jai Vijay, were born as the sons of this king, and they were named as Pallavan and Vallavan. They were two boys who became the princes. They were great devotees of Lord Vishnu, and they were very deeply dedicated to Lord Vishnu and conducted extremely big yagyas for the worship of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu, who was pleased by their devotion, so he granted darshan as Vaikuntanath Perumal in this particular place. And so this Vaikuntanath Perumal is a very, very exalted and a beautiful deity of Lord Vishnu. Please have darshan of Vaikuntanath Perumal over here. The next temple that we're going to speak about in Kanchipuram is probably one of the most amazing temples, most beautiful deities in the entire of Kanchipuram. I would say that this is an exceptional deity in the whole of India. You will never find a deity of this type in the whole of India because it's unique not only because of the deity which it is, which represents, it is also unique because of the style in which it is created, it is made. So this particular deity is an awe-inspiring 25 feet deity of Lord Krishna in Vishwarup form. And he is in a sitting posture facing the east. And this temple is associated with the form of the Lord who went to as a peace messenger to the Kauravas on behalf of the Pandavas. So he's known as Pandava Doota. So he is in a sitting posture and he is holding a sword in his hand, one hand. His one leg is folded and sitting on a throne, and the other leg is on the ground. And you can see the giant deity of Pandava Doota. And this is probably the only deity where you will find Krishna is sitting with a sword in his hand instead of a chakra or instead of the regular things. And the interesting thing about this particular deity was how this deity was appeared. It is explained that um, King Janmajay was the great grandson of Arjun. He heard um, he he heard the Mahabharata. He heard the pastimes of Krishna from Vaishampayana Rishi, Jaimini Rishi, and after hearing the pastimes of Krishna, Janmajay he actually performed a great tapasya at this place to have darshan of Lord Krishna, and the Lord appeared to Janmajay to satisfy his desire to see him. And this Lord is also known as Padagam. Padagam, the word Pada means big, and Agama means residence. So it means that this is a place where the Lord resides in a giant form. So this is one of the three oldest deities of Kanchipuram. It is explained, and so the Lord is sitting is in Ardha Padmasan posture with his right leg bent to the basement, and one leg is on his thighs. So I would like all of you all to have darshan of this most beautiful and most amazing form of Pandava Dutar, and this is the form of Partha Sarathi. Actually, Pandava Dutar is before the Partha Sarathi incarnation, where he appears in the form of the peace messenger. So here, the focus of the Lord is to give peace, but at the same time, he is ready to show the Vishwarup form, the sword in his hand. So the choice is yours. Either you choose peace, or the sword is very much available, for the Lord to use. That is the kind of mood that this particular form of the Lord shows. So with this we come to the conclusion of so many of these most amazing temples of Kanchipuram. Of course, the number of places and temples in Kanchipuram and the number of stories that connected to each temple is just so unlimited that we can drown in an ocean of stories, we can drown in an ocean of information of Kanchipuram. But what I gave you is like a small trailer to what Kanchipuram has to offer. as we are going through these most amazing places of Kanchipuram and these most amazing treasures of Kanchipuram. Let us all be in this belief that each of these places have the potency to deliver us, the potency to purify us, the potency to uplift us, especially on these most holy Adik Maas period when we are meditating on these holy places and these holy temples and these most beautiful forms of the Lord and his exalted devotees. Hare Krishna, we would like to thank all of you for enthusiastically being a part of this most exciting journey of visiting the 30 holy places of pilgrimage during these 30 days of Adhik Mas. And hopefully, what you hear of this holy place of Kanchipuram has left you all excited, enthusiastic about eventually physically visiting the place. But more than that, right now, about being grateful for having the opportunity to having visited this holy place of Kanchipuram mentally and absorb the vibrations of all these most amazing temples and hearing about the story of these most exalted devotees connected to this holy place of Kanchipuram. And with that, I would like to sign off here about this holy place of Kanchipuram. And hopefully, whatever you heard has really left you all inspired and grateful. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Kanchipuram Dham ki jai. Vardharaj Perumal ki jai. Um, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.